Okay. And whenever you guys are ready, feel free to start.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. It's a virtual special meeting of the White Lake Township Parks and Recreation Committee on September 1st, 2020 at 7 p.m. Can anyone help me, Justin, with the roll call?
Sure. Andrea Voorhees.
Present.
Rhonda Grubb.
Here.
DJ Barada.
Here.
Kathleen Asseltine.
I'm
Here, sorry.
Sorry.
Mary Carlock.
Here.
Deb Darren.
Here.
All present.
Okay. We're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I think somebody has a flag for us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Third item is approval of agenda. We have a special meeting primarily to look at the Stanley Park consultant recommendations and approve the minutes of our last meeting on the 26th. Are there any changes to the agenda, or additions, subtractions, Don or Justin or anyone? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
And
I'll support. Give it to Kathy.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. So motion carries. Move on to the approval of the minutes. Thank you, Hannah. That's a big turnaround. That's a fast turnaround time
Thank you, Hannah.
for a 4-hour meeting to have those minutes.
You're welcome.
And we had them a few days ago too. So that was a large charge. I'm sure you couldn't get anything else done in there, but you had to anyway. So anybody else?
Yesterday was Hannah's 30th birthday. I just want
Oh,
everybody.
stop.
my
Please
God.
stop.
Yeah,
Happy
sorry, I muted
birthday.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Yep,
1990. I have a 1990 baby. Son, he just turned 30 in April, just a little bit. Okay, so any changes or corrections to the minutes? They were extensive and encompassed all of our interviews. Do you have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you, CJ. How about a second?
Second.
Deb seconded. All in favor of the minutes as presented?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed for the minutes. We'll turn to our Merge Life people. Are there any public people in the waiting room for our call to the public for items not on the agenda? Jacob? I don't know. He can respond to us.
Sorry, what was that?
Are there any members of the public wishing to speak?
There is not.
Okay. All right, we're going to move right on. Thank you, Jacob. To new business, the Stanley Park consultant recommendation. That was a marathon session for us and staff to go through all those interviews. As we had known before we talked to everybody, everybody was well qualified. So it was a difficult decision. So I think maybe I'll turn it over to Justin.
Sure. Thanks, Mary, and thank you to all of you again for your time last week. It was, as Mary said, it was a long night, but we got a lot accomplished. So we reviewed your score sheets that you submitted for the evaluations of all the firms, and we averaged all the scores out and then put a rank to them based on how everyone's shook out. So I'll read out the results of the ranking. I almost hear like myself feeding back into the mic, but
You sound fine.
okay.
Yeah.
The ranks came out. Beckett and Rader was firm 1, Giffords Webster was firm 2, McKenna was firm 3, and Johnson Hill was firm 4. So our thought tonight was we consider the top two, and the committee would make their choice from there.
It's funny you say it, Justin. I got the same ranking for how I rate them, so I
Okay, yeah.
guess everyone had a consensus. So
I don't know if it would help to go around and ask, out of the top two, what everyone's thoughts are, if there's a consensus leaning one way or another.
I just got one quick question. What was the company that had the drone? Which one was that? Can you check Beckert or?
Yeah, I think a couple of them had
Yeah.
drone
I know
capability.
Giffords, Webster did, McKenna did,
No.
and I want to say that Beckett Raider mentioned it as well. So
Okay.
I'm pretty sure 3 of the 4 did.
Okay, thanks.
And then Giffel Webster, they helped with the grant in acquiring the park to begin with, correct?
Yeah,
Was
they
it them?
helped with the land acquisition grant for Stanley Park.
The way I kind of like took my notes on everything, I waited till the end for the sealed bids to be open before I even considered price, and that kind of threw one of them out. Obviously, the mechanics, it was a bit high, but between the other two, I think we're pretty good. They're really good firms, so I'm confident with either of them. I have
And
a pluses and minuses of different ones when we get further into it, but I feel they're both good.
I did talk to Beckett and Rader because when we did the rankings and found they were the top two, I went back to them and said, hey, your combined fee for master planning services and grant work is about $8,600 over the other firm in the top two. And we're very, budget conscious as we're making this decision. Are you flexible with your prices? And as they said, they would be in
The
their
meeting.
interview. And it sounds like if the scope were modified slightly to maybe scale back on public engagement and some of the alternative designs that they would do. Usually they put together like a primary concept with a few alternatives. They could maybe limit the number of concept alternatives that they put together. That could bring the price down on the master plan. Maybe they said $4,000. They did not commit to a price.
I'm a little uncomfortable.
It sounded like they were not going to commit to a price until they knew that they were the preferred consultant.
And are we going to go with them or one company for both the master plan and the grant writing?
Our thought, and you don't have to do this, but just staff's perspective, from an efficiency standpoint, it would be easier for us to work with one
Good.
firm. If
I
they
agree.
do, if one
I
firm
think
does
so,
the
too.
master plan, they'll have all the material ready to roll for the grant work.
Great.
Especially with the Civic Center and everything that's going to be happening with that. We kind of want to keep just, all these hands out of the pot and just keep, one group is what I was thinking as well.
Yep,
Right.
I agree.
I don't want to jump in and step on anybody's toes, but I will say this: as far as changing the scope, look, one of the things we need a well done plan. We need an excellent plan, and I think that either of the top firms that the group seem to be comfortable with can do that job for us. So if the group says that they're most comfortable with Beckett Raider, I don't know that it would be worth saving a couple $1,000s to possibly limit a design option. If they were going to give us 3 alternatives and now they're going to give us 2, maybe we really want that third. We get one chance to do this, and
Right.
and the other thought I have is that the public engagement is critical.
That's
I mean,
important.
especially in this park. And I'm not saying you guys don't all agree. And I mean, Justin and I even talked about this. It's sort of like, for $3,000 or $4,000 to keep the extra option, design alternative in, and to keep all, the maximum amount of public engagement in that we can possibly get is probably a critical part of this. And so, obviously the township, you guys, the township board, the staff, we all try to do this as efficiently as possible, but sometimes you get what you pay for too. And I don't mean that to slight anyone else, but this firm Beckett Rader is not the most expensive one, but they are the second most expensive one. Giffords is the third most expensive one, but they ranked 1 and 2 for you guys. So I wanted to throw out there that I don't know that we should cut back on the scope of services because this is such a critical project. And there is money to do this. I mean, the extra $3,000 or $4,000 is in the park fund. And I would hope that the public would be supportive of just wanting to get a very robust project plan and scope out there for the public engagement and for all these design options. So we do it. We hit the nail on the head. We do it right the first time. So I'll stop, but I just wanted to throw that in there.
Well, I think like Sean said, for the public engagement, for Mary's point, for the grant writing, that's the most important part as far as getting the public engagement and figuring out what people want and getting behind the projects. And that way we can get the grant funding to secure it. So.
Yeah, I just like just not talking about the grant at all or the application because I kind of want to stay out of that. But I mean, as far as having 3 design alternatives is a huge thing to me. Because sometimes they'll just, your designer comes and they have, this is it, and this is what you paid for, and we can't do anything else. The best parks I feel have those 3 options. And I think we want to really, this is the center of our community. The heart is going to be our civic center area. So I really want to make the opportunity for the public to be involved and
Absolutely.
like one group to take over the thing either with something that they might want as an individual group.
Yeah, plus, and Giffords also had that extra money for the meetings or the public engagement.
Yes.
The 500 per meeting and per
That's
grant meeting.
I did look at that. Their scope does include a handful of meetings, a kickoff meeting, the input meeting for public engagement, a couple meetings with the Parks Committee and Township Board. So that $500 per meeting was additional meetings outside of the scope of services.
Okay.
And I think that
I
Beckett
read that.
also.
I read that last week, but I didn't read the whole thing at 10 o'clock at night last
I
week.
want to say that Beckett also said that they would charge additionally if outside the scope for additional things as well. It didn't really specify. I think it just said the hourly rate, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I mean,
what happens sometimes is you have one consultant and 5 different boards and 10 different stakeholders, and they all think that they're driving the boat, and we just got to make sure, that they answer to the planning department and not like 100 different people that want this. So, that's something on us to control the situation so that they're not having to, redesign things and add 10 more meetings or whatever and have it not blow up that way.
So Mary, how do you want to do this? Do you just want to go around to like everybody and get their thoughts on each firm and then, or how are we supposed to pick from here?
I guess we kind of started that, but yeah, I think if somebody feels strongly another way.
I think
we'll
I got another question.
Yeah.
Which one was it? Andrea, who was it that went out and spent a lot of time at the park? Was it Giffords?
Beckett Rader.
Okay.
They had the really great pictures.
I think a couple of them,
All of them went out, but I think that Beckett did the most in depth. But don't forget, Giffords Webster didn't really have to go out there as much because they already knew the project because they did the grant.
They did. They already had all the topo and everything. Andrea, how about you? You're our trustee.
I like Beckett Rader for that reason alone. They were out there. They had some fantastic pictures. As we all know, they did Bloomer Park and they did minimalism there. And to me, I think they got the point. They understand that we want like minimalism there too. We don't want a lot of disruption.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I like the Beckett Rader.
Okay. Deb?
I had originally picked Giffords first and then Beckett and Rader, so I'd be really happy with either one. I had a really hard time going back and forth with each of them. I kept giving them 10s and 10s and 10s, and so when I finally came down to it, I had to figure out, okay, one had one less point, but I like both 100%.
And not a science. Okay. CJ, I think you kind of told us your top 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that Giffords Webster probably had the best community engagement for online. Some people don't want to do it
Right.
if we don't have a kickoff, like usual.
Yeah.
I like that they were more grant focused. I didn't really care for Ryan, one of the team members, but the results, kind of spoke good. They did the Marshbank Park over in West Bloomfield, so they felt like they had good wetland experience. Giffords Webster, for them, I just thought, that they already did the master plan of the township and for Parks and Rec in the past. I feel like they're familiar with the project. They mentioned that they would for sure do the drone footage. The only thing that kind of bothered me was the $500 extra, but as I read further, Beckett's going to charge hourly as well, so that's kind of a wash. Just don't know if they're as tech savvy to get it online, and I felt Beckett had a more accelerated time frame than Giffords Webster, but as long as that they can get it done by April 1st, it's like an $8,000 difference. So when you look at it that way, I mean, if we're looking apples to apples for a 3 plan, which I think that we should, that's pretty much all I have to say on that.
Okay. Kathleen, you're next on my little screen here.
I think they're both really good choices. I kind of put Giffords and Webster ahead of Beckett and Rader because I really liked the idea that they had a person dedicated to the public and stakeholder engagement, and that they had a single point of contact person. But I think either would be really good choices. So I would be happy with either one.
Rhonda?
I'm glad Deb went first because Mike's scores were they were pretty much identical. They were my 2 top picks. I like Giffords because of their experience with that property already. But they're both like neck and neck.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Yep.
And I think the part of what you have to think about when you look at the scopes, they're similar. So is one scope can you make the jump for $8,600?
That's where I'm having a sticking point myself because Beckett said that they would, if they feel like that we're the right firm, to work with them, they'd come down on the price. But if they're willing to take down the scope of the project just to bring down the price, it's not really, setting well with me.
Yeah, they have a bigger scope because they're doing 3 proposals, and I didn't get the feeling from Giffords Webster that they're doing that, but I do think they're more of a they have a lot of park experience, and Giffords Webster is a bigger firm. There's more other kinds of work, but that's just my experience. The people they're going to be working with, I think that for the 8,000 or 4,000 or whatever it is, that you are getting those additional concepts and a good public participation component in there. So, I mean, I'm going to turn to Justin and Sean. Do you want us to vote, or how should we make this decision? I think everybody can go either way. I'm more of a Beckett Rader based on our experience with Bloomer primarily. The grant part, I don't care which it goes, but I think whoever, it's easier to keep costs under control and deal with one company all the way through, because having been a grant writer, you have a vision and you can carry it through in your narrative and explain your vision in the application. So it's sometimes good to do that.
I think there should be a vote among the 6 of you, and if there's a consensus, then that will be your recommendation.
Hey Justin, would there be a way, like, for me, the issue with Beckett Rader is the additional, funds on it. It's a lot more. Would there be a way, like, to make a motion, approving it if they want to continue at the same scope, maybe a reduction of fees by 10%? If not, then just throw it to Giffords Webster based on the price.
I mean, you could do that, but based on my conversations, it doesn't sound like they're willing to bring the price down without adjusting the scope. And it doesn't sound like that's something that we want to entertain.
Okay.
But you're saying Giffords is only going to give us 2 Design options versus 3. Is that, or the other 3 firms were also going to just give us 2 design options versus 3?
Or one. I didn't
Or
see a
one?
lot of them that had multiple design options.
I can't remember what Giffel said about that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they are going to have 3. They may have 1. I'm looking through it here.
And I tell you, I was just at Bloomer Park over the weekend running and biking, and it was over the top great. So if Beckett and Rader did that one, this park could only be as good as that. It would be great.
Yep.
What's a better location? So it's probably even be better.
Yep. So I said it was over the top. Me and my husband thought it was like just everything about it. And 3 cars were parked in the, 2 or 3 when we were there, and people were using it, and it's a great park. So.
And as Sean said, we do have the money to pay for either firm. So if you go with Beckett and Rader, we can afford it, and we know what we're going to get. We're going to get a high quality product. And
When we're looking at
Yeah.
a park development, like we just talked about, the $500,000 that went into Bloomer, I mean, this is kind of a large amount of money out of my account, but I think that you're getting more concepts. I mean, I just feel they're more of a park design firm. It's a specialty where it's a kind of one of the thousands of things that Giffords Websters do. So I guess I'll just stick my neck out. Obviously, it's already kind of out there for Beckett Rader, but we can go around and everybody just pick one of them that you want to go with. Again, we talked about how we really can't go wrong with any of them.
Mary, can I ask for clarification of what you just said?
I said if I was going to vote, I'd just vote for Beckett Rader.
Right, but did you say that you liked Beckett and Rader because they're a smaller firm and they're more
Specialized with parks and landscape architecture. They're a landscape architecture
okay,
primary firm instead of a engineering primary firm.
okay, that's what I wanted clarification of. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to vote too. So
Yeah.
how do you feel, Andrea?
No, I'm with Maria. I like Beckett and Rader from the beginning. Yeah, something like I said, I like the minimalists of Boomer Park, and I do realize it's a different scope of work. But yeah, no, I like them. That would be my vote also. Beckett and Rader.
So CJ, do you want to cast your vote? We have 2 at this point for Beckett and Rader.
I'll vote for Beckett and Rader too, based
All right.
on the qualifications. They were my number 1. The only thing, like I said, that was holding me back was the price discrepancy.
Right.
But I feel like based on Mary's experience with them in the past, and I feel it's worth the extra money, especially if they're going to be doing the drone and all that stuff. I'm all in on that.
I have a drone.
Yeah.
Well, it's my son. Deb, what do you think?
Go team, Beckett and Rader. Go blue.
Okay.
They're from Ann Arbor.
Well,
Oh,
some of the people
I don't
on
hear that.
they're all
Ooh,
mixed up.
Edit that
They're all
out.
mixed up. In fact, when you're at a conference, they put Michigan and Michigan State together on a boat and stuff. So we're from Michigan, Michigan State. Kathleen?
I'm gonna go with the flow. I'll go with
Oh.
Beckett and Rader.
Okay. And Rhonda.
yes, that's me. I appreciate everybody's opinions because it helped me. And that was my original highest, even though it's only by 0.03 of a point higher than the other one. That's how close my scale was.
Yeah.
So yeah, Beckett and Rader, I think.
Well, qualifications-based selection is based on, you do see the price and if they're to the
Yeah.
moon, of course, but if they're not.
So I included in the packet a formal motion that I think should be made by someone and seconded and then voted on just as a formal action, as a recommendation to the township board. I saw that
Right.
your vote now is more informal, but
Right.
there's a motion in the packet.
Yep.
Does somebody have that in front of them that they could
I
make a
do.
motion?
Justin, is it going to be more of a roll call vote, or is it just going to be a up and down?
We can do
Majority.
we can do a voice vote on the motion, but I think the motion should be made and supported.
Okay.
Great.
Who has it in front of them and can read it?
I'm pulling it up. I'm struggling though. Who else has got it?
I have it.
Okay.
So it says, move to recommend approval of Beckett and Rader for park master planning with services cost not to exceed, ooh, where did it go?
24,500.
20,
No, 20,000.
yeah, 20,000. Yeah, the way I wrote it I wasn't sure if you were going to select one or two. The prices are in that staff report if you're looking at it, so you can insert the price. I mean, I know.
All right, help us out with the price here. I lost my sheet.
20,000 for the park plan and 4,500 for the grant
Okay,
work.
okay, preparation services with cost not to exceed, what would that be?
24.5.
Yep, exactly. 24
Okay. All right, so there. That's the motion.
I would
Okay,
maybe
that's the
want to
whole
add
motion?
to it, just so everybody understands that one of the things that, as a part of your motion, that they offer 3 design alternatives as a part of this proposal, and you find that that's going to be helpful in getting the best possible plan, just so everybody understands that was something that stuck out in these discussions for this firm.
With the drone.
Sure.
So three proposals, 3 design proposals.
3 design alternatives, yeah, or proposals.
So do you have to read it again, Kathleen, or how is it?
Well, just amendment to that, move to approve with the amendment of 3 design proposals be included in that. Good
The
enough?
public
I second.
participation.
You want me to read it all again? Don't make me.
Justin, are you okay with that?
That's fine.
Don?
Sorry if I wrote it too complicated.
Cryptically,
Well,
Sorry if I jumped in.
thank you for
Justin,
Kathleen.
could you read back to us what we just said?
Sure.
I just feel bad for Hannah, who's got to take the notes. So.
Yeah. I'll restate the motion.
Yes,
just to
thank
make
you.
Sure,
Thank
just to make
you.
sure that it's the way that you want it. So all right. I didn't have it up, so bear with me. So the motion, as I got it from Kathleen, was move to recommend approval of Beckett and Rader for park master planning services with cost not to exceed $20,000, and Beckett and Rader for grant preparation services with cost not to exceed $4,500, with consideration given that Beckett and Rader will develop up to 3 master plan concept alternatives.
Nice.
Okay. Is there somebody that can second that?
Second.
Second by Deb Darren. And is there any more discussion? Okay, so just because it's a fancy one, Justin, you want to go ahead and take a roll call vote?
Yes. Andrea Voorhees,
Yes.
Rhonda Grubb,
Yes.
CJ Bratta,
For
Kathleen Asseltine,
Yes.
Mary Carlock,
Yes.
Deb Darren.
Yes.
Motion approved unanimously.
Great. Very exciting.
Woo.
I know we'll be busy this fall. And I'm sure that we'll get with them on, how to proceed in the time of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just glad it got done for the September 15th for Andrew and for the board to keep it moving. So
Right.
I did talk to the township supervisor today. He knows this is coming. It will be on their agenda, so he's prepared. Andrea knows, and
I was taking notes.
Yeah, they'll be prepared to take action on it.
So there's a
Okay.
possibility we will be able to meet in person appropriately socially distanced in October?
Potentially, yeah. So your regular meeting next Wednesday is canceled, and just because we've had 2 back-to-back special meetings, that was a lot of business for everybody. So in the meantime, we'll bring the consultant on board once the township board hopefully approves us to engage with Beckett and Rader, and in October I expect we'll start our kickoff meetings and public engagement.
Can't wait.
And hopefully that's in person.
Who couldn't expect this year? All right, there's no other business on the agenda. We can go around and see if there's any other member comments about this or anything else. So I appreciate everybody's long commitment the other night, a 4-hour Zoom meeting. That's something to tell your children and grandchildren about. It looks like our next, October 14th, Wednesday. So we'll cross our fingers that we could meet outside somewhere. That would be great. Hopefully, I won't follow in some of our other movies and past events where it rains on those days. Hope not. I thought it would rain here
Ryan,
by
no
now.
movie night this year, huh? Forgot about
Guess
that.
not.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
I don't know how trunk or treat will go, or if we'll be out of the woods by then or not.
But they're having speaking of parks, they're having a comedian at Fisk Farm on the 19th at 8 o'clock.
In the barn?
Outside, to my knowledge.
Outside?
Advanced ticket sales. It's the person that's holding it is a very COVID friendly person, so I can't imagine it's not going to be COVID friendly.
Okay. No one go somewhere and catch something, so. But that sounds fun. We've all been locked up. It's been nice in the summer. I'm not looking forward to going where I'm inside all winter, so I'm hoping that we get some vaccines out here pretty quickly. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and make a motion myself to adjourn the meeting till Wednesday, October 14th. Does anyone want to second my motion?
Support.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, everybody.
Justin
Thanks,
and
everyone.
Hannah.
Thanks, everybody.
Good
Good night,
night.
John Boy.
Thanks,
Good night.
everybody.
Good night.
Thank you, Jacob.
Bye.
Good night.